We turn now to Black Christian families. We have interviewed about 40 at this point, and 80% of American Black Christian families that we interviewed hailed from inner city contexts. Others were from suburban or rural areas, but 80% were from inner city areas. These were typically blue-collar families whose married status was often the exception on streets lined with single mother families, often that included poverty and need. Selected themes from these families that we interviewed included faith during difficult times. A direct quote related said, "The power of prayer gets us through," and "Faith holds my family together," another direct quote from one of the participants. There was an urgency about faith for many of these families. Faith mattered deeply and profoundly. For many of these families, the United States is not a post-race nation. Poverty, often deep poverty, as well as unemployment, inadequate educational opportunities, discrimination, incarceration, and many other social ills were very familiar to them and to their loved ones. Further, these marriage-based families that we interviewed were often the first to receive knocks of need, a phrase that we coined. And by knocks of need, we mean literal knocks that come to the door from neighbors that involve requests for money, for help, or even temporary housing for the less fortunate who often surrounded them in their communities. Interesting to note that every single Black Christian family that we interviewed had housed unrelated folks in their homes at one point or another. And in one case, I asked a family, "How many youth have you had here in your home over the years?" And neither the wife nor husband could even put a figure to it. They guessed that it was somewhere over 30, but this was a very typical practice to open their doors, literally, financially, spiritually, relationally, to those who needed it. Their lived religion was not a sanitized upper middle class spirituality. In most cases, it was a desperate, sincere, deep pleading of faith, a pleading faith of survival that even now in 2021 still seem to contain some echoes of the mournful notes of the shame of American slavery. For these families, their faith was not merely something that enriched or added some meaning to life. Faith was life itself. In terms of holy envy, we cannot claim to envy the plight of one of the most discriminated groups in U.S. history, Black Americans, but we do certainly envy the profound depth of their living faith in a God that reportedly heard and sustained them through poignant challenges that were and are ever present for most of these families, even now.